All right. Welcome. Welcome to the Comfort Stop. I'm yo daddy. Anyways, everybody out there that's listening in your mail trucks, with your earpieces, I want you to do me a favor and I want you to breathe. Just breathe. Yeah. Get that breathing right. Get that breathing right. Yeah. 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 Yeah, just get that breathing right. I want you to get that breathing right. Yeah. Don't be stationary, though. I don't want you to be stationary for too long while you're doing this breathing. But if your station manager, your supervisor asks you, "Hey, why were you stopped for here for 5 minutes?" I want you to tell them, "I was breathing." Yeah. I was breathing, boss. Boss, I was breathing. I needed to breathe. Because some of us we just don't breathe. You got to take a breath once in a while. You got to take that breath. You got to breathe. You got to learn to breathe. Not a lot of people do it. And we have to learn. We got to learn to inhale and exhale. And all right, you guys ready? I'm off. It's Friday. I'm off. I got the long weekend. Thank God I got the long weekend, but I'm going to be back next week. And if you listen to the podcast with me and Leisha on Wednesday, man, it's been just so stressful at work. I haven't been breathing. I ain't been breathing right. I've been having neck aches, and headaches every day. It's been sucking. It's been sucking. Big old dick. But today, no headache, no neck ache. And I was like, I'm going to make a fucking podcast today because I got some extra time here to make a podcast for you guys. So I'm going to fucking do it. I'm going to do a podcast, and it's going to be just, who the fuck is Rick Rock? Who is that guy? He's a mailman? And he does a podcast? Who is this guy? So I'm going to do a podcast, and I'm going to take you on a little ride and let you know who the fuck I am. Not that you give a fuck. But hey, if you're out there on foot patrol, plugging along, and you're like, damn, I'll give this shit a listen to because I ain't got shit else to do. Welcome to the Comfort Stop. So, anyway, that's my first anyway today. So, let's go. Let's dive into it. 1996, I became a casual carrier. And here's how it happened. So, 1994, I graduated high school. And my mom, she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1985. I think I was in like sixth grade. I was in sixth grade, and my mom was told us she had cancer, and Back then, nobody, I didn't know what cancer was in 1985. And I'm sure a lot of you guys really didn't know what cancer was back in 1985, uh, especially if you were just a little kid in sixth grade. But I didn't know what cancer was. But it was one of those things where, you know, we thought she was gonna, you have, I've got breast cancer, but I'm gonna, I gotta do, I gotta go through these steps, and then I should be okay. And so she had a breast removed, and she had to do physical therapy, and uh she never did get the what am I gonna say, like a breast replacement. I don't even think there was fake tits back then in 1985. There might have been, but I don't think I was aware of it in 1985. Because man, I don't even know if I was looking at ladies with fake tits in 1985. I was looking at Dolly Parton's tits, but I think those were Dolly. Were those natural? I think they were natural, but in real life, I didn't really see tits. But she didn't. She didn't get a fake breast. She ended up just wearing like a bra that had like a fake boob in it. And I thought, man, thank God that's over. You know, um, and you know, life went on like is normal, like as it's supposed to go. You go to junior high, and junior high was just fucking, man, I used to love playing basketball. Man, basketball was like my was a passion. Growing up, I wasn't allowed. We weren't allowed to go outside the yard. If that makes sense, we weren't. We have a gate. We have a gate around our house. Man, I'm talking like my mom right now. Is that weird? But we had a gate around our. We have a gate. I still stay at the same house, and we have a gate around. I have a gate around the house. It's the same gate, chain link, cyclone, and we weren't allowed to leave the house. We were allowed to go to school, and we were allowed to go to school and then come straight home. But that was pretty much it. We weren't allowed to have friends in the neighborhood and go out and play, and so I think I want to say for like a birthday, one of my birthdays, and I couldn't tell you which one, but it might have been it could have been seventh grade, maybe. It could have been seventh grade, maybe seventh, sixth or seventh. I wanted a basketball hoop, so my dad bought me a basketball hoop, and it was a Magic Johnson's basketball hoop, and he got it at Payless. Uh, and he hung it above the garage. So I just played basketball all the time. I was one of those stupid fuckers that thought, man, if I get good enough at basketball, I'm gonna be able to fucking go into the NBA. Oh shit! But it was something that I really loved. You know, uh, need to take a breath real quick. Damn, that's crazy, right? That's crazy. But I used to just love playing basketball. And anybody that knows me, man, knows like, damn, that motherfucker loves playing basketball. He plays basketball in the rain. He's out there playing basketball. It's raining. Like, damn. He's committed. I'll be out there at the side of the house in the driveway. Like, damn, I think if the sun's going to let up, the rain's going to hold back for a little bit. I'm going to get out there. Man, I learned how to fucking shoot the shit out of the ball. Learn how to fucking jump high. And, man, I fucking love playing basketball. But anyway, went through junior high. And mind you, I have an older sister. Her name's Curry, and man. Man, but I got two little sisters. Juanita and Kristen. And shit. Those were like those were the only friends. Those were the only friends that I needed growing up. All right, let's try this again. Um, Before I go any further, I need to correct the year. Um, we moved here to Vallejo in 1985. And in 1985, that puts me like in the fourth grade. So my mom actually got diagnosed with breast cancer in sixth grade when I had Mr. Schneider. Mr. Schneider, he's probably, who knows where he's at right now. But if he's out there, I'll give a shout out to Mr. Schneider. He kind of looked like Tom Hanks. But yeah. So that would put it in like 1987 when my mom got cancer. So still in 1987, it wasn't you didn't see fucking a lot of people with cancer, or you didn't know what cancer was in 87, right? Fuck if I did. Um, uh, but yeah, in 85, we moved to Vallejo, and Juanita was born. Uh, so it was me and my older sister, Curry, and then Juanita was born in 85. And then Kristen was born in 86. And that was the whole family. Uh, so I get to junior high. Um, Playing fucking basketball. Used to walk to school. Went to a junior high. It was called Springstown Junior High. And man, back in the day, Springstown was cool. I used to walk from my house to school, and man, it was a nice little hike. I couldn't even tell you how far, but when you hear stories of like, oh, when I was growing up, I had to walk, 5 miles to get to school. It was kind of far from my house, so man, if you have an iPhone and you Google like 2900 block of Georgia Street, and then type in exit location Springstown, on Springs Road, man, it's got to be more than a mile, right? I think it's more. It was more than a mile. I used to fucking hit it, fucking. I think that's probably why I became a fucking mailman, huh? Because I was always walking. This motherfucker's always walking. Like, there goes Rick. He must be going home from school. Anyway, man, I'm gonna end up jumping around here, because I don't have any structure. I don't have any structure. I'm just fucking. How it comes out is how it's gonna go down. But I will try to fix it when shit's fucking wrong. I'll try. I gotta correct it. Gatorade Zero. If you're trying to leave the sugar alone, jump on those Gatorade Zeros. They're pretty good, actually. But I went to Springstown, and where was I? My sisters were my best friends growing up. Because, man, we weren't allowed to leave the house. We weren't allowed to leave the house. My dad was a mailman, and he worked in Napa, where I work. Same office, you know. And he was a mailman when he retired from the Coast Guard, and he was a boatswain mate chief. And when he retired in 1985, we moved to fucking Vallejo for God knows why, but fucking moved out here, and man, he got into the post office and fucking became a mailman. Started off as a janitor for like a year or two, and then became a mailman. Took the test, became a mailman, and did that till '96. Um, but we'll get into that. Uh, man, this is like one of those. This is like a Jersey Shore confessional booth. Feels like a Jersey Shore confessional, except for Rocky's in here. Rocco. Oh man, but so junior high. Let's fucking. I'm just gonna just go. So junior high. Uh, normal, kind of a normal, as normal as you could get childhood. I remember first day of junior high, and my sister, she went to Springstown. Um, so pretty much knew. She pretty much knew the lay of the land, like where to go, what to do, whatever. Get your schedule, where the office and shit was. And first day of school, man, my dad, we all get in the car, and they go to drop me off at school, and we take the family station wagon. We had one of those 1976 Plymouth Valaris with like the wood paneling on the side. And, when you're a little kid, man, that car was cool because, man, it's just a family car, right? But, man, you get into junior high, and it's not the car that you want to get dropped off in front of the school in, and, fucking right in front. And, man, I got dropped off right in front of the school, and it was like, fuck. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. Like, man, it was one of those cars that, like, man, if you turned it off and like it would get flooded, and my dad would be pissed. Like, God damn it, son of a bitch. But whatever. That was first day of school. I was so embarrassed. Now I think about it, I'm like, what the fuck was I tripping off of? But I guess that's just a part of being a kid, like you think all that shit matters, and it fucking really doesn't. Like, who cares if you get laughed at or people make fun of you? It just doesn't fucking matter. But man, after my mom got breast cancer, she used to go out a lot. And she would go out and play bingo a lot. She would go dancing. Like, we're like, damn, she's going to go out dancing. Like, oh, shit. Then she would, like, bring home records. She would go out and she would buy records. Like, she had, like, I'll Be Sure, like, Night and Day. And then she would have, like, cassette tapes of, like, After 7 and Stevie B. I remember she was like, man, I like this song. It was Spring Love. She would always be playing Spring Love. Like, man, what is this? Why is our mom listening to this? What's going on? And she used to rent us movies when she knew she was going to go out, like to go to play bingo or whatever. She would like take us to the video store. We had George's Video here in Vallejo, and we had a Betamax. And when you had a Betamax, you didn't have a very wide selection of videos. You just had like from this section, from here to like here, and like from here to here. Like, so whatever whatever videos was in here, you could rent, and like VHS had the rest of the store. So you know, one day, my mom ended up coming home with a VHS, and we were like, "What? We got a VHS? God, we're in the game." Um, it was crazy. We had a fucking VHS, fucking video player. Then, man, we were able to rent whatever we wanted to rent, and we could go to like all these different video stores. We had a couple different video stores around, so it was better than just going to George's Video. We could go to like other ones, man, and just fucking get whatever the fuck we wanted. Wrestling videos. Man, I was big on wrestling back in the 80s too. Just fucking watching wrestling. Hulk Hogan and, man, Ricky Steamboat was like my favorite. Sting. Man, I was watching wrestling. And, man, I used to think that shit was real. Me and my dad used to stay up late at night to wait for Saturday night's main event. Like, I would take a nap during the day just so I could be ready to stay up till 12:10 at night, so I could watch Saturday night's main event. I used to love staying up watching that. He would stay up with me to watch it. Man, those were the days. But we got a VHS player, and then my mom. One day, my mom was like, "Okay, well, let's go rent some movies." It was like I don't know, maybe it was a Saturday, maybe. And she said, "Man, let's go rent some movies." And man, you know what? I can't even remember exactly how it went down, but I think we rented movies, and then she said she was gonna go out like that night, and then she never came home. Or she said she was gonna return movies and never came home. I can't remember. I swear sometimes I have like man, I think I was telling Alicia this, but man, I feel like my memory, like fuck, like I get pissed when I hear stories of people that say, "Oh, I can remember when I was 4 and fucking I rode the fucking pony around the fucking circus." And I'm like, "God damn, how do you remember that shit?" Like, fuck, people remember that far back? Like when they was fucking 3 and 4? Like, god damn, I'm struggling just to remember fucking junior high years. Like, fuck. I feel like my years is just like flashbacks. Like I have flashbacks of like good times, like, or even some of the bad times. It's just flashbacks. Like man, I think I'm running out of data or running out of memory. Like, god damn, I don't have it like that. Like, I think I asked Leisha, like, man, how do these people like fucking Joey Diaz and like fucking whoever else, how do they write these books? And they're like, man, when I was fucking 3 up to now, and I'm like, man, what kind of memory are you guys working with? And I don't even do drugs. And I can't remember like half this shit. But I think she went to go return some movies. And never came home. We were like, "Damn, she ain't back yet?" I can't remember. Man, I can't remember. My memory's so just spotty. Like, but her and my dad used to separate. She would go back to Virginia. She was from Virginia. She would go back and forth to Virginia to her mom's house. And man, I think one time, man, she took Juanita and Kristen, and Curry, and they all went, and I was like with my dad, and yeah, um, so it was kind of weird, like weird childhood, you know, weird childhood years. Um, it's like just back and forth. Uh, then I went through eighth grade and ninth grade. Um, just a regular ass kid. Couldn't get into too much trouble because man, I couldn't have any friends. So, uh, ninth grade. I think ninth grade I was actually getting a little smart. I think I had a 4.0 in fucking ninth grade, and I thought I was fucking smart. And man, I had hella hair. I had a lot of hair in junior high and in high school. Fucking hella hair, boy, hella hair. High school. I think my mom was back, and that would have been 92. Man, 92, 93, 94. Um, she ended up getting diagnosed with cancer again. Uh, and this was this was in Virginia. She got diagnosed with cancer after having a seizure, and they said they found like um, I want to say they said they on the X-ray they saw something on her brain, right? And she said she prayed super hard. She was laying in her room one night, and the next day she was supposed to go get another is it like a CAT scan or MR? I think it's a CAT scan. Or and the night before her CAT scan, she was praying hella hard, for the Lord to take away um, the spots that were on her X-ray. And she said, "Lord, if you take those spots away, like I want to go home to my kids, and I want to raise my kids." Um, so the next day, when she went to her doctor's appointment and took the X-rays and stuff, they didn't see anything on the X-ray. So she ended up coming home, and she came back. Um, Cancer, man. Cancer's a son of a bitch. Uh, you know, uh, my mom, she kept going like into remission. She would go into remission, and my mom's name was Lodi Sue. Um, but her cancer would go into remission, and then she would something would show up again, and it would be like fuck, like fuck. Oh, it's good. Oh, thank God. And then fuck. So I never. She ended up like having something. Um, like a spot on her back, her lower tailbone, and then something on her tailbone. Um, and she ended up having a surgery in Sacramento where they put like a sponge reservoir, a sponge like in her head, and she would take treatment like these shots like through her head, the top of her head. And shit's just so, man, like it when I talk about my mom's cancer journey, it's just so much. Like there's so much. And growing up through it, like I I couldn't even tell you like everything. But um in 94 uh in 94 when I graduated high school, I wasn't even gonna go to like the graduating ceremony or whatever. You know how like you have like the graduation at like the high school football stadium or whatever. I wasn't even gonna do that. I didn't want to. I was like, man, I don't even want to do that. I don't. They call it walk. I don't want to walk. I don't even want to walk the line. I don't care. And man, we had to take these tests. We had to take these tests in high school, and it was called the heart bill test. And whoever made the heart bill test, fuck God, Mr. Heartbill, fuck you. Man, I kept getting hung up on the math part of the heart bill test. And then I had a guidance counselor, and his name was Mr. Yamate. Mr. Yamate. Thank you so much, Mr. Yamate. I actually saw him in Napa one time, and I was all, Mr. Yamate. And he was like, yes. And I think he lived in Napa. And I was like, man, Mr. Yamate. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I went to Hogan High, and man, you helped me with the heart bill test. You're the reason I graduated. And he was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, wow. So I ended up graduating high school, and my mom was like, I want to see you graduate. And she's like, I want you to get a cap and gown. I want to go watch. And I was like, man, Mom, I don't want to go. And she's like, I want to see you graduate. So she ended up getting me, like buying me a capping, money to get a cap and gown. And my dad worked that day. He was like, I don't need to go. So I ended up going to graduate, and that's probably like one of the last significant things uh like my mom got to see was me graduating. um yeah, yeah, that was like one of the last things. And then in October, uh, she man, she passed away. Um, yeah, and uh, me and my older sister, Kari, we just helped. Uh, we were both graduated by then. She homeschooled when my mom was in Virginia, so she didn't have to go to high school. She ended up doing like homeschooling, and then we ended up taking care of our little sisters during the day. Uh, that was every day. Pick them up from school, take them to school, pick them up, and then during the summertime, just watch them during the day. You know, um, yeah, man. We used to just play. I play with them all day. Like just play games and play in the driveway and just entertain. Just that was what we did. Ride bikes down the driveway, up and down the driveway, and play basketball, baseball with a sock as a baseball, so we wouldn't break any windows. Uh, but then in '96, then my dad passed away, and uh, he came home from work, and it was a hot fucking day. It was a hot day in April. Um, and he got home from work, and man, he came home from work, and I took his shoes off, and he told me to go clean the windshield of the Toyota van we had, and I went out there and was cleaning the van, and Juanita ran around the side of the house, and she was like, "Daddy fell down in the yard," and ran into the house. And then when I ran around into the front yard, I saw him laying in the lawn, like in the garden. I was like, "What the fuck?" And he was laying in the garden, and it was like just seeing someone with they turned all the power off on him, like if somebody had a switch and they just turned it off, and like you could hear like everything just shutting off inside of you, and like his eyes weren't there, they were just like, they just looked through you, kind of like just gone. And he was on life support for like a week, and he passed away on May 4th. I want to say May 4th, around May 4th. And we went to go clean out his locker at the post office. And Ken Martin, he was like one of the big kahunas in Napa. He asked me if I needed a job, and I was like, "Yeah, I do." So I ended up in 1996. I ended up being getting a job as like a casual carrier, and then I went from like a casual clerk, and then I went to a TE, and then I went to a was I don't even know. I fucking don't even. I couldn't even fucking tell you. But then I was a PTF. Took the test. You remember when we took tests? You remember when we took tests to fucking get a fucking job at the post office? We took tests, remember? A fucking test. And if you didn't score high enough, you weren't getting a fucking job at the post office. Remember? Anything, if you didn't get over a 70, you weren't getting a fucking job at the fucking post office. Now they just hire whoever the fuck they want. And they wonder what's wrong with the post office. You fucking motherfuckers. Anyway, so I ended up doing that, and man, I got on at the post office, and that's when my fucking journey began. And I'm gonna leave it at that for now. And then man, from 96 to 2025. Man, I've seen a lot in the post office.
With Rick Rock, I'm off the clock. So fuck you and you too. Gonna talk about some shit. You might not like it, but I don't care. Not everybody's gonna like everything that you do, So fuck